Hello again, it's me. I am going to tell you about the Afterlife Institution series. What it consists of is the books and the storylines that had started in Knightshade Manor and got expanded into other institutions. Characters have been linked between the various books, and the premise is still the same, that the guests that reside within those are the spirits of the dead, and they're working through their life issues in an environment that makes more sense to their lifestyle that they chose. With that, I'm going to go ahead and read the introduction of the various books, and they're actually not going to be released in the order that I will be reading them to you today, because already Dark Highways has been released as book 2, and I'll go further into that particular institution book at a future date. To start with is the Abbey. It's an institution staffed by members of every known religious order whose own prejudices actually denied them access to their concept of heaven. Their penance is to serve the souls that were killed by the extreme methods wrapped in the cloak of religious dogma. Often, the perpetrators of the torturous methods and ignorant persecution find themselves at the receiving end of those zealous victims who are more than happy to return the favor of pain and death to those who wear the robes of the church. As a result of centuries of religious persecution, there are guests from every region of the world, many of whom were killed during wars and crusades. If you're not aware, the Afterlife institutions consist of an afterlife life review opportunities for people who have transpired and have left the living world. It's a part of a series of many horror stories that have been put together by Raven Knightshade and various other staff members who you will be introduced to in the beginning of every book. See, I really think that's enough to tell you about the Abbey. I don't want to start sharing too much about that because that's going to be released as book 4. Book 3 is going to be Browning Memorial Hospital, which basically is a place for guests who spent a majority of their lives in hospital, whether as a patient or an employee. They have special needs that pertain to the needs of the illusions of a hospital, with all of the attributes that pertain to that illusion. The staff members are dressed as medical personnel. They spend a majority of their time studying terminology and methodologies to practice on the patients during their experience. Dark Highways is book 2 of the Afterlife Institutions, and that is actually an opportunity for staff members from all of the other institutions to come into the world of the living. If you have read Knightshade Manor, you have already met Kevin and Louis. They are 2 brothers who go and act as bounty hunters for spirits who have tried to avoid their life review. So they cross into the world of the living, along with Octavius, who is the uncle of the 2 men, and they journey through the world of living collecting souls. Dark Highways is a bit autobiographical in the sense that every individual in that particular book is based on a real person that I have met and interacted with. Howard Place is the next institution. It's a place for guests who are lost and waiting to return to their loved ones. These are often people who were killed during storms, natural disasters, as they are not directly responsible for their own demise. They are routed to this institution, really just a pleasant waiting room with peach walls, comfortable couches, and miscellaneous magazines placed on glass-top tables. Each person creates his or her ideal surroundings with an eye to what a waiting room is supposed to look like. The next institution is called Paranormal Palace. This is a place where beings that are not quite human find themselves. It's also a place where humans and people who have special abilities, such as psychics and clairvoyants, can find themselves interacting with demigods, beasties, and other fantastical creatures and beings that don't quite fall into the category of human. The next institution is Carringer's Castle. This is the guests that are children who were never born and those who were born dying, whether by terminal illness or negligence on the part of their parents, as well as children who have transpired in an accident or a plane crash. Lady Marina Carringer of Carringer's Castle is a matronly, soft-spoken woman whose pale skin reflects the sunlight, causing a glow about her. The environment of the castle is set up very much like a fairy tale. It is a pleasant place. It is full of all the dreams and aspirations and tenderness that is required for these spirits to be healed. So it's not as much of a horror as some of the other institutions. Justice Hall is the next institution. It's a place for criminals, people who had wasted most of their lives in institutions, jails, mental hospitals, and prisons, choosing this path that denied them access to the gifts that were offered in life. The rooms are set up as holding cells. The guards, are police and demons that personify the people that monitored and controlled the criminals. Judges, lawyers, bailiffs, everyone that chose to experience that attribute of a career find themselves at Justice Hall. The next institution is Salisbury Town. Claire Monet, mayor of Salisbury Town, is the way I wrote this is kind of odd, an artist community where various professional and amateur artists of every media gather in death to continue their life's work. Claire had decided to use the garden party as a means to promote one of the town's newest and upcoming artists. His paintings sent whispers throughout the afterworld, and they were displayed on upstanding easels bordering the trees at the edge of the pond. Various attendees were admiring the artwork as their open pompadours shaded their delicate skin from the sun's rays. This is an interesting institution as that it is centered in a town, and the individuals therein don't really accept the fact that they're dead. They want to keep on living, and they keep on acting and meeting with people that would inspire them, and it's a wonderful opportunity for the people to actually learn to be better artists. Yarborough Station is the last institution. This is a place for those who chose military life as their identity. These are people who died during wars, military combat, acts of terrorism. The facility is set up as a base camp and training grounds for the guests to still feel the connection with the military life they once led. There are ample grounds to provide the exterior fields and illusions of re-experiencing the deaths that the guests endured. And that's it for this video.